Greetings. This is Expander 12, also known as the Last Keeper of Lore. In this video, I will be going over the recent happenings in regards to the story as well as the developer's response to it. So a lot of things are changing. We don't know if it's going to be a good change or a bad change. A lot of people are being very pessimistic about it, but I'm trying to keep out hope, hoping that it will be better. I will still make sure to record the original story and will record it after the change, but we'll have to see how the story ends up being when they initiate the changes. So this is the official translation transcript of the stream held yesterday. This stream actually led to the cancellation of the video as originally going to be posting yesterday because I needed to find all the information about that, so I didn't think it was a good time to post a video. So we're posting this one later. You can see I'm apologizing about it. You can see, hello, this is Kyung Suk Kim, CEO of Super Creative and Director of Chaos Nightmare. I wanted today's broadcast to deliver a sincere apology and make a firm commitment to our players. We know that many of you have been disappointed by recent issues in our service operation. As CEO, I feel a deep sense of responsibility and intend to clearly recognize and correct mistakes that have been made. Today I wish to offer my genuine apology and address the questions and concerns you had as honestly as possible. I'm prepared to accept criticism where it's due and provide clear answers where they're needed. And if you allow us, I hope this will also be an opportunity to show a renewed determination moving forward. I've arranged this session to address the story's instability in following our official launch and respond directly to feedback we received from our protos regarding the current state of the game. He's going over the story instabilities, and as a result, you'll be getting 10 limited polls. You should have already gotten the first one in the mail, but 10 limited polls for every week going into November, which means a total of 50 polls. Then there's the stuff we care about. Next, I'm going to discuss the story-related concerns. To all protos who were disappointed and confused by a story that felt different from what you had anticipated, I offer my sincerest apologies. We fully understand how disheartening it must have been to feel like a mere observer when you should have been the protagonist, fully immersed in the world of the game. In particular, the way the game characters built deep bonds with other characters and set the protagonist was a clear mistake on our part. Regrettably, I was aware of these narrative issues myself. However, as our pre-registration began in July and the official launch drew near, I became overly focused on keeping our promised release schedule. In that case, I failed to ensure the quality of the story. My question is, why wasn't the story done before the pre-registration? They should have had that ready, at least to some capacity, before they even opened pre-registration. It's out of concern for the delay in the launch might cause further complications. I made the careless decision to leave certain improvements for post-launch updates. I sincerely apologize for that. As the saying goes, better late than never. We have therefore decided to restructure the main story. The scenario team has already begun the overhaul with strong passion and a clear determination to improve. And our entire development team is joining forces to do everything in our power to ensure that the world of Chaos Nightmare unfolds as it is truly meant to, for you, our protos. And then I have a bit about the background of what went on, the scenario writer's departure. It is true that the majority of the scenario team left the studio last year. The reason was none other than my excessive interference. As the deadline for the final script approached, I grew impatient and made a reckless decision to participate directly in the writing process and push the project forward. The scenario writers I worked with were talented individuals. My excessive ambition and interference ultimately stifled their creativity. That environment inevitably led to disappointing results, which weighs heavily on my heart. The main story was completed under severe time constraints and various limitations. Those who had worked on it have since left the company, and their departure rests entirely on my shoulders. I sincerely apologize once again. Our new scenario team is currently working on fresh content. We're doing the final part of the epilogue and trauma code. I'm now collaborating closely with the team, respecting their creative space and striving to maintain a true sense of partnership throughout the process. So here it talks about how the director felt stressed by the timelines that he had set on them. They felt like they weren't the state they needed to be. So he went into the reading room, which led to the entire old team leaving, which is a terrible thing to happen during development. So I hope, based on what they're saying here, how they worked on the epilogue and trauma code. So like the trauma codes are pretty good. I've heard the renewal one's really good. I will be getting to that soon. And then the epilogue you need to be rank 54. So that's a bit far away. And to talk about what the new plan will be. I'm going to briefly share the key directions to the upcoming main story renewal. We will completely remove the narrative structure that caused the protagonist to feel alienated by surrounding characters. Characters that previously sparked controversy will be revised to prevent the same issues arising. By the way, if you're not aware, over in Korea, a lot of people didn't like how close Owen was getting with certain characters. It was not the majority, it was just, from what I'm going to gather, a small group that had a problem with it, which was probably inflamed by the fact that the protagonist was not a very active participant. Like they're saying, they're more a cameraman rather than a participator. And they say by addressing the existing narrative flaws and reinforcing coherence, the story was rebuilt around the captain, the sole protagonist within this universe. We also plan to reinforce the darker tone and big atmosphere of the narrative. We're deepening both its emotional weight and psychological portrayal of each character. So I'm very looking forward to seeing like how they make it darker and how they will go into the trauma of each character in the background. And so the plan is the renewal of the main story chapters 1 through 5 will not be limited to text revisions alone. It will include full re-recordings by the voice actors, with the goal of achieving the highest possible quality. As this process requires considerable time to ensure both story refinement and recording quality that our produce will truly be satisfied with, we are aiming to complete the release renewal by the first half of next year. So that means it could be anywhere from January to June. So it's like that's a pretty big window. That's up to 8 months from now, meaning I'm putting trust that they will be able to deliver us a good story. And then a bit of a Q&A portion. Why does the captain's stamina ability remain the same? Because if you noticed, there is the proto skills, which allows like undo turns and things like that. I mentioned this before, but like, what's the lore behind this? Why does he have this mechanic if it's never explained in the story? So we spent considerable time deliberating on how best to implement the concept, but ultimately decided to make revisions in pursuit of higher quality. Although the captain's ability is currently described in a simplified way, we regret that we were unable to fully refine its quality towards the end, and its integration into the scenario was not executed as well as intended. In the renewed storyline, we'll make every effort to present the captain's abilities and presence as a true protagonist in a more compelling and complete way. So no more cameraman protagonist. So here they're talking about, again, the character shipping issue. To be completely transparent, both I and the team failed to fully recognize the issue before the main story launched. While the rushed preparation of the main story was certainly an issue, a more critical problem was the protagonist did not consistently stand at the center of the narrative. Instead, other characters often drew the spotlight or carried the story forward, which in turn made related concerns, character shipping issues, far more prominent. We plan to address the interpersonal relationships between non-protagonist characters primarily through external content, such as side stories and 4-panel webtoons. This is more for like event stuff, not the main story. Within the game's main story, interaction between non-protagonist characters will be minimized to ensure the captain remains the central focus. We ask for your continued attention, and we assure you that this commitment will be fully reflected in the forthcoming main story renewal. And then there's like some translation issues between them. The issues arose simply because different text versions were not properly unified. We're currently fixing this inconsistency and continue refining localization quality moving forward. At present, there are strict variations between the Japanese, English, and Korean version. We're currently reviewing the best approach to address these differences, and we'll share our finalized direction once it has been confirmed internally. Then affinity levels, then our difficulties, as I'm sure you've experienced. I've only got one character to affinity 10, the rest are like 4 and lower. So it's like, yeah, the affinity raising is very lackluster. You're saying they will work better, but might make the protagonist sidelined. They brought up the AI thing because people are still accusing them of that. And like, they said in a team of 100 people, it is hard to keep a lie consistent. So they're saying there is none because they've already said it's not the case, and then none of the team went against it. And of course, the 50-50, which posed a lot of concern to people, I haven't felt it's been that bad personally, and it is true. I've done the math. It's about 30% cheaper than other games. Game improvements, just general corporate answer. And then apparently we're supposed to already have gotten the stream for Galactic Calamity Season 1, so that's been delayed. I don't know what the official date is now, but you can see here, why was the communication to live broadcast been delayed? I deeply apologize that there has been far too many bugs and problems since launch. Embarrassingly, we prioritized resolving those issues before coming forward. Although we have been preparing extensively for this session, our development team has been working tirelessly to address these issues, which unfortunately resulted in delay in our communication. I would express my sincere apologies for not reaching out sooner. We make every effort to hold more sessions like this in the future and respond quickly to your feedback and concern. During development, I often find myself caught up in managerial concerns and matters unrelated to what truly matters, our protos. This experience has been a humbling reminder of where our priorities must lie. From today forward, I will return to the heart of a true developer, dedicating myself solely to creating a game that our protos can truly enjoy and be proud of. I will humbly accept criticism from all protos regarding the service instability and especially store-related issues. However, I'm deeply pained to see the development team, who have trusted and worked with me for up to 4 years leading to this launch, receive such severe backlash. Since all responsibility lies with me, I see directive criticism toward me, and kindly refrain from extreme criticism to the development team. I will not run away from responsibilities. I promise to correct past mistakes and demonstrate tangible improvements in both the game and our approach. We ask for our patience and understanding as we strive to deliver these commitments. Please continue to support our team so we can get back on our feet. And we dedicate ourselves to fully making Chaos Zero Nightmare a game worthy of your trust and expectation. Thank you. So I am quite hopeful that the story will be good. Of course, there's that little part of me nagging that's like, oh, what if it isn't? But it's like, I am hopeful. I try to put trust in other people, so I'm hopeful that it will be better. It will be more satisfying. It will be more of that dark, gritty nature of story that we're looking for. That the characters will not be safe, so to speak. That it'll actually be a tangible heaviness and risk that it feels like present in the story. So there's like, it's a more dark story, but it's like, just that I want it to fit the promise they gave us. But I'm hopeful that they will be able to do that with the time that they have. So with that, that is everything I have for this video. It's a pretty short one, but take care, Protoss. Until 0 turns to 1, I'll make sure to keep on the lore and story of Chaos Zero Nightmare. Keep her out.